I've been through something. Something happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
something extraordinary.
Yes. And so many people need to know that if they are obedient, it will happen to them too. Mm-hmm. If they want it to.
And that's been your consistent message since Mignon and I, by the way, here with Mignon Francois of the world-famous Cupcake Collection in Germantown, Tennessee, outside of Nashville, or downtown, within the boundaries of Nashville. And you and I have been friends now for since 2008. Mm-hmm. And the way Mignon and I met was she came in to do a radio commercial when I was working for Mix 92.9 and Jack FM. And at the time, I was doing these commercials where I would just allow the client to talk about their business for about 20 minutes or so, and I'd get about 4 or 5 different spots out of the session because it was authentic, it was real. Well, Mignon came in, and about 45 minutes later, we heard the story of the Cupcake Collection, and the account executive at the time and myself were just in utter and complete awe. And there's a video that we produced, and I felt like I needed to produce it for Mignon several years ago, talking about that journey that she had to where you were at the time, and how you got there, and how you just basically being the person God wanted you to be, being obedient. Mm-hmm. And you're still now here 6 years later.
And then
8 years later.
And then look at this little God sign over there.
Mix 92.9. The Mix 92.9 van is like right over there on the exit.
What amazes me about that particular session is that I didn't even know you were recording. We were just talking, and you were so comfortable to talk to, and I think we became friends instantly.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, I got my master's in the School of Hard Knocks, but I'm actually getting an accredited master's right now. And so I was in class, and we were talking, we were doing this sort of like personality profile or, talent profile. And you had to write down who are the people that you feel in the last year have been critical to your business in your life, and you were one of the people. You only had 6 slots that you could fill, and you were one of the people. And as I filled that across, you have to make the connections.
Right.
And I just, then you do it for 5 years, and you've been there, all along. And I just think about when I decided to close my Donaldson store, and, you called.
Yep.
And said,
what's going on?
What's happening? Are you okay?
Yeah.
And I think when people see you being successful, they want to know about that, or when they see things happen, they really want to know about it. Sort of a negative maybe connotation.
Right.
But closing, it wasn't negative at all. We had such a great conversation about what I was feeling, and I just want people to know that when they see businesses open and sometimes then close. For me, it was 2 years in that location. Mm-hmm. And time flies by so fast, people don't realize it was really 2 whole years of my life out there. It was simply a decision to choose life for me. Mm-hmm. Not that the business wasn't going well, because there's still a lot of people pulling up there, and they're kind of disappointed that it's gone. And then maybe from a business standpoint, somebody would say, well, that was stupid, it was making money. Yeah, but sometimes the quality of your life is more important. Yeah. And so being the one that mixes it all and has my hands in everything, I'm trying to get my processes tighter, and I'm trying to make sure that my team is whole and healthy, because integrity is important to me. And integrity is not just about being honest. Integrity is about being whole. Yeah. And so there was something broken, and I needed to get that fixed. So I needed to bring everybody home. It's just like when you call your children home when you're older. You bring your children all home for the holidays or whatever, or someone is sick, and you call the family in because someone is sick, and we need to talk about what is happening. I needed to make a choice so that I don't become sick. Right. And so that my business can continue to thrive. There's so many opportunities that we can take, and we couldn't take those opportunities with me being stretched in the way that I was being stretched. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be able to say, yes, you can carry my product in your cafe, because it's going to make your cafe better. That's key for me, because I always want to sew into people. And that was one of the things I think that connected us so much, is that, you know, I had this genuine desire to connect into people, and you are a connector too. And connectors always kind of gravitate to one another. And so I've always wanted to connect for people and help in some sort of way. While I have this big old bricks and mortar store that was doing fine, I could close that, take away that overhead, and put that same output out and help someone else at the same time, with the same sort of volume, without the overhead. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Without being stretched so thin.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that, you know, I've been told that, and I guess this is probably the most succinct way I guess you could say that I'm summed up, is actually Reggie Ham. He says, Jim, you've always been an encourager. And I said, you know, that's actually, yeah, I am pretty awesome that way.
You are pretty awesome that way.
No, but my thing has always been looking at what other people do. You know, because we're all on the inside of our own bottles. And to look at the label for us, even for me, on what I'm doing is tough, is to see where we're going and what our brand is. You know, ultimately, whether it's a business brand, a personal brand, or anything, you need somebody out there to, okay, this is what you need to do. I just have ideas, you know, and I look at what other people are doing. Sometimes I look at people, what they're doing, and I just kind of go, I don't get it. Yeah. And there are people where, like yourself, like, you know, certain people that come across my path, that I look at what they're doing, and they're kind of, you know, struggling along, and I just know, dude, you need to do this. Here's something else you can do. You can tie this in, and it's just one thing after another that starts firing out.
But you know that's a gift, right?
I suppose.
Yeah, it's called ideation. You know, I just finished, well, I should say just, I've been completed with it for a while, but part of the entrepreneur organization has a catalyst program where they sort of train you up. And I graduated from the program. And while we were there, I learned certain talents that entrepreneurs have, and different ones have different gifts, and I've always been treated as if I was scattered, you know, scatterbrain, and my hair isn't blonde because I dyed it this way, you know, like, it is naturally that way, and so people kind of treat me in a blonde sort of way, and it's not that it's not that I don't know what I'm doing. And it's not that I'm scattered and that I change my mind. It's that the ideas flow so quickly that I don't have time to make excuses for you. Yeah. So just because you don't understand it or you can't get it fast enough doesn't mean that I have some sort of dysfunction. And so through that process, or through that class, I learned that, hey, this is actually a gift that should be celebrated. So I stopped making excuses, because I would always find myself making excuses. Oh, sorry. Oh, I changed my mind. But it was just that I got a new idea. And I've learned that all ideas are not to be given away. Some of them are for me to keep. Some of them were never for me. Some of them for me to pass on to someone else. Some of them were made for a good joke. But at the end of the day, ideation is a gift. Yeah. Some people would love to have the idea to be able to teach people how to do voiceovers, or get in the car with your friend and have something valuable to share with people. Only Jim McCarthy, you know, comes up with that. It's fun.
For me, this is like a handful upon handful of ideas that I have for myself, and I go for the ones that I think have the most value, that are the most easily executable. And this, to me, is just, you know, put up a camera, and, you know, I think some of the best conversations are had in the car. You know, you think about all the different road trips you've taken, and how many deep conversations. You can get into some pretty deep conversations, because all of a sudden there are parts of your brain that are tied up with making sure the car stays within the lanes and paying attention to traffic, which a lot of people have told me when they drive, they get their best ideas. Yeah. Because it frees up a part of your brain to allow those ideas to, you know, come through, I guess.
And then, you know, like, your brain processes words at 750 words a minute, but you can only communicate them back at, like, the top of the hundreds, you know. Yeah, and so all this stuff is happening in your mind, and, you know, that's why I always tell people, write everything down, because 30 seconds is going to be gone, and it'll be gone forever. But when I'm in my car, I don't listen to the radio. I don't listen to live radio.
Yeah.
I usually listen to like a book on CD or something that I want to be learning, and then my mind is going off onto something else. But you're
I
right.
get that. I've been really disciplined about starting to listen to things other than what's going on in the world, because that can really drag you down, and it can really affect your positivity on life. And I just started listening to a lot of thought leaders, people like Gary Vaynerchuk, who's been a huge influence on me. Another person who I've been listening to lately is Grant Cardone, who he's written a series of 4 books about selling and sales. I've really gotten into that aspect of it based on my career in the car business. Even though I was there for 2 years, it was such an aha moment of, wow, there really is a process to this. And if a lot of people just took that process, it's an easy process to teach. And again, reiterating, I just knew that the creative community needs something like this, and I'm going to go after it.
Yeah, because we think on that other side of our brain that doesn't deal with the analytical,
and they don't like to
stuff.
sell.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, not only do they have to sell, they already are selling. One of the things that was told to me, and I actually Snapchatted Grant Cardone about this. I said, he said in the book I'm listening to, he says, children are some of the best salespeople.
Yeah.
And I said, I've been saying that for years. Holy moly! They will sell you on. They are relentless. They're the model salesperson, because they won't stop until
But
they
they're like the biggest spenders too.
I'm talking about like a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
They will. My 7-year-old will wear me down about playing on the iPad until he is able to play on the iPad.
But that's why like all the marketing is targeted towards them, because they're going to sell their parents on why they need that, and they spend more money than the equivalent to their age, double their age, because they are looking at
money.
this stuff, and they don't have anything to lose in getting it right. They only have something to gain. You're right about that.
Sales is a transference of feelings and confidence, and what a lot of creatives, a lot of people feel icky. Well, I don't want to be a salesperson, but if you think about it, anything in life, at any given moment, it's sell or be sold. That's the name of Cardone's book that I'm listening to now, and that's something else I've been saying for years. I'm like, it is an ongoing process. You're some way selling something to somebody else, or influencing them to do something or have an outcome in your favor. That whether it's money in your pocket, a commission, or a going out on a date, maybe going to a restaurant you prefer, anything. And it's like, people tend to put this label on sales as a bad thing, but it's really a skill that needs to be nurtured and developed, and it's not touched upon in business school
At all.
And it's like, you and I talked about, you going back and getting your accredited master's degree. What did I tell you?
I
said, you don't need it. You already have the horsepower. You have the horsepower right now to go out and start a speaking tour on business.
Oh my gosh, I would love to do that.
Then do it.
I just don't think, maybe I don't know right now the first step or
Okay,
how.
anybody who is in the speakers bureau, who needs somebody to come and speak to their business or a seminar, Mignon has got the horsepower. She's built the business from nothing, okay, and figured out the ways to build a bona fide, good, community-serving business from the ground up. All right, that is my personal ringing endorsement. Okay, and anybody that knows her knows this. And, and again, like you said when we started this, you're your best cheerleader.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to get out there and start beating that drum.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I guess it goes down to what you're saying about being, it's about confidence to go out and say, because I've always, been raised to believe let other people say it. But now I'm learning a new concept of that people are not going to say it in the way that you're going to say it, and then you miss the opportunity. And you sometimes sit back and say, why is that person getting this award, or why are they up there speaking when they learned it from me, or just.
My passion lies in like what I just did, seeing the value that you can bring to the table and developing that personal brand that you can have, you'd already have. If enough people know you, to look at what you've done, look at what you can do, and look at what you're doing, and it just takes a discipline. And I always tell people this, who I see value in what they're doing. It takes a discipline every week to get out there and put up a blog, a video blog, something, just to engage with your audience and build that audience up, nurture them, communicate with them, have intent with them, and basically get it out there, And I've heard all the excuses, well, I'm not ready yet, or, well, that doesn't really appeal to what I normally... there was a travel agent who said, well, if we review all these different places we go, we talk about what we do, we're going to attract the people who we're not really trying to attract, the non-luxury vacation people. They're just going to hit us up for, advice or whatever. I'm like, but that's okay, because those people might know people who have the money to buy a luxury vacation. And there's nothing wrong with sharing what you know.
I just finished texting that very thing to some colleagues of mine. I'm just huge fans of what their company is. And so I was selling some equipment from the store, and I met another person in business, and he was asking me about a big mixer that I have. And so he said, do you think this will work to mix up my popcorn the way that I want to do? And I said, well, I have some friends in the popcorn business. Why don't you reach out to them? Right. And he's like, well, maybe they will feel a certain way. Well, there's never anything to hurt. They're not going to give you any processes. You can't ask them anything about their product, but you might be able to ask them a technical question. And what does it hurt? When you keep your hands open, yes, things fall out. Yep. But it also leaves room for things to fall in. And so, only what you can hold in your hand is all that it was designed for you to keep anyway. And so the rest of that falls out can fall on and bless other people. And I said, hopefully that they see it the same way and can give you the information. And just in the few minutes that we talked together, he was there to buy a piece of equipment. He wasn't sure about the price I was asking. And just in the genuine exchange, he realized, you know what? I'm going to take that equipment because I gave him up front what I could do. Yeah. I told him what was fair up front for what I could do, and we were able to come to an agreement, and he got something he needed and I got something I needed. I got rid of a very large piece of equipment that I don't have room for, and he had a very large piece of equipment that he needs. Yeah. Just because we exchanged about business and an idea that he could use. And so I think it's so important to do that with people. We're so scared that people are going to take our stuff.
When you and I talked about the master's degree, I think, and I told you about this, if it's a personal thing that you want to achieve, that's great. I have no issue with that. But if that's something you think you need to move on to the next point in your life, absolutely not. You're being sold something. Yeah. You're telling yourself something is blocking you from moving on. And I can tell you with no uncertain terms that I think you can do it tomorrow. And just record every single one, put them up on YouTube, brand, Mignon, Francois, constantly getting in front of people. All right. And, these things are your biggest tools.
Yeah. You told me that, hey, whole movies are done on iPhones.
Yeah. Except stick a GoPro up. That's an iPhone 6S Plus.
Okay.
I have a friend of mine who's a video guy. So I keep on telling him he's got such a talent for being a technical kind of MacGyver-esque guy. Coming up with different technology and ways to do things. And I said, dude, just put up a YouTube channel and talk for 10 minutes about whatever it is you can speak on. Same thing for you. You and I talked about it actually before. You wanted to do something on a daily or weekly basis. Yeah. And I said, there's no reason why you can't just go take the phone and put it up.
Now there's Periscope.
Periscope, Facebook Live.
Yeah, Facebook Live. And it's like social media is changing so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about the fact that I don't even watch TV anymore. And the few, I used to love TV, and I'm one of those parents that let my children watch all the TV. You might think I'm not a good parent because I let my children watch so much TV, but the TVs don't really even come on in the house anymore because in every few minutes that you do have, you're on social media. You have your hand in social media because it's so entertaining and it's changing so rapidly. You have to keep up by learning what the new thing is. So I recently signed up for Periscope. I just haven't had time to sit down and figure out how it really works. And
that's the kind of space I'm getting into is a consulting / coaching of people to learn how to use those types of things. And it's really not that hard once you figure it out. It's just building up that customer base or that audience. Same thing with Snapchat. Snapchat's going to be, they're saying it's going to be the next, borderline Facebook.
Yeah, I remember when Snapchat came and we were thinking, oh, this isn't going to last. And my children have been doing look at me, Snapchat for, maybe at least 2 years.
I just got
more
on.
Than that.
I've been hearing about it, so I said, let me try it out, and let me see what all these other companies that are using it are doing, and I want to see how it works. Now, the one thing I am realizing over time is that as you see people put up their Snapchat stories, you start to associate the content of their Snapchat with their name. With they start branding themselves, and you start saying, well, I really don't care what they have to say, and you don't even watch them anymore. That's an interesting twist. Whereas Facebook, you have a Facebook wall, and generally somebody's going to get in front of your eyes as you're going through your news feed. But with this is selective, and if it's somebody who brings value to the table, you're going to watch their snaps, and it's entertaining or informative. What's in it for me, ultimately, is the question.
And for me, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
I want to be entertained by Snapchat.
And a lot of businesses, even the businesses that are advertising on traditional media, radio, TV, print, which I have no idea some of these businesses are still using print. All these dinosaur media, these traditional push medias are really, TV is really in trouble. Okay, because even if you are watching TV, if you're watching it on Hulu, on Netflix, on Amazon Prime or whatever, if it's a TV show and they insert the commercials in between, even if you can't fast forward them, what are you doing once the commercial come on?
Going on your social media,
Oh, the show's back on.
And then, I find myself, like, I had a paper to turn in, and it just, really stressed me out. So it was, 12 o'clock at night, and I have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But I had to, debrief or just, come down by going on social media and seeing what the laughter was. And I gave it up for a little while. I went on a hiatus because I was going through something in my life, going through my divorce. And it was just really a tough time. So I didn't want to see certain things on social media, and I didn't want to be bitter. I didn't want to be angry, so I just wanted to disconnect myself from social media. So when I did that, I wasn't informed. I didn't know what was happening in the world. If you say, oh, did you know this happened to so-and-so, you miss out on what's going on with your family, your friends. And so right now I'm in a space again where I need to just pull back from social media a little bit, because it can be very addictive. And I'm afraid of what I'm going to miss if I get off.
See the thing, I look at it as, it can be an addiction, but the reality is it's got 98% of the world's attention. That's, everybody's doing this. Okay, that's a problem for traditional media, a huge problem. I still believe in certain elements of traditional media. I certainly still believe that radio is very viable. I think television is in big trouble. I think a lot of people are on social media too much, but it is what it is. That's where the world is going. And you look at the way people consume it.
Sorry.
No problem. You look at the way people consume it and use it to sell stuff. That's the other interest that I have. How do you use it to sell stuff? Because I see a lot of people, even on LinkedIn, there's one guy who puts up just, a slide of, hey, I offer X, Y, and Z service. Call me now. And it's got 0 likes.
Yeah.
And he does it once, twice, 3 times a week. And I'm going, that's not, you're doing it wrong. You need to engage with people. Give them a reason. What can you do? Are you doing videos? Are you offering value through a blog? It's all about, it really does come down to one of those two things. What's in it for me? Answering that question, what's in it for your audience? And what kind of value can you bring to the table?
LinkedIn, though, I just won't join it. Like, it's like I don't need another thing to keep up with and keep organized. My brain is on swole right now, trying to contain everything. And I'm just like, okay, now I guess I'm going to be the last person in the world that doesn't have a LinkedIn.
It's the business side of Facebook.
Yeah, so maybe I should give up Facebook and join LinkedIn?
No, I would stay on Facebook. Facebook's still very, very relevant. Twitter's having a little bit of issues. Instagram is certainly relevant. Snapchat's coming up in the rankings. Now there's another app that's getting a lot of buzz called Anchor. It's more of a podcasting app. So it's interesting because we're in the Wild West right now as far as these apps. And it always boils down in any category. I don't care what age we're in. It's always going to boil down to a two-horse race. The third place holder in that category is going to be a distant third place. So for me, when Facebook came out, they were up against MySpace.
Yeah. Okay,
MySpace just, they went off the map.
Yeah.
Then Twitter came about. And then Twitter and Facebook were similar, but not really. Twitter reinvented, kind of went in with they invented a category to be first in they were basically the cocktail party. You talk about things, you network in a way that you talk about things like you would at a cocktail party. Facebook's more personal, but Facebook's been very smart about the way they integrate business. Now, for businesses to use the platform in a traditional sense, i.e., shoving their message down your throat, as opposed to creating some sort of a planetary gravitational pull that get people to see the value of what you bring to the table and share it. That's another thing. But a lot of businesses adopt a very traditional advertising viewpoint when it comes to social media and Facebook, but I digress.
And which is why then that whole question you had before, is anybody printing anymore? I mean, there you go. I just think about sometimes when I turn the pages in magazines. I love magazines. I love books. I love the way they feel in between my fingers. If I still had a sense of smell, I might sniff them. But, sometimes you see the ad and you're like, what the heck is this? Like, and why did they pay money to get this square in here?
Well, not only, and what was the last time you looked at you actually went to a business that advertised in a magazine?
Yeah. If it's the scene, that seems to be like all the things that are happening around the city. It's very ad heavy.
But that brings up a good point. Whenever it's local focused, I think that's where you have an edge. And this is where a lot of these, like where I came from in the dealership world, they pawned off their social media advertising, probably the most powerful arm of their promotion for their brands, that wherever you were selling, they pawned it off to an external third-party company to handle the social media. And as a result, you get traditional ads being sponsored and bought and pop up in your news feed with irrelevant messages, non-local messages. I remember when Crest Honda started doing a lot more social media interaction on Facebook, everything was local. Yeah. Everything had, hey, here's Mr. and Mrs. Smith taking delivery of their 2009 Accord. And, you could see people from the community buying their products and, people who work there and all this kind of stuff. It built value in the establishment. Now they pawned it off as a corporation to a third-party company. Now it's all very manufacturer-centric messages. Like at Mercedes, it's all Mercedes-Benz-esque messages that they've already spent money on a national level. Okay, well, what makes Mercedes-Benz of Nashville special? Yeah. Why would I buy from you? And who is taking... And the locality of it is really what is missing. And I think you hit on a good point with print. You're getting the locality, the community, Because I know when that scene comes out, I want to see it. I want to see the ads, and I want to see what's new, and I want to see where we're going to go eat one time, especially when the best of edition, and you keep that for all year and say, oh, there's that place that won best of, let's go. I mean, like the Cupcake collection.
Yeah, like that.
Numerous years in a row.
Yeah, like that. That's really why I want to get it. I want to see where my name is.
But if you ever get big enough, and if you ever get somebody who's a consultant corporately or something that gets a bug in your ear that you need to expand and get away from being local, I think your alarm bell should go off. Because that, I think, is one of the keys to your success, is the locality, the fact that you're accessible and you're intent on pleasing your customers. Because, I mean, if you think about it, once you go national, you start to lose your power. You start to lose your relevance to what it is that you bring to the table for your community.
I was just talking about that too earlier. This is amazing. I was just talking about that earlier today, about how it's important to me what it is that I bring to my community. You know, and two, a little bit of a further step for that is what I bring to my Black community. You know, I want to be an example for my own community in a different, you know, sort of way, in the sense that we can be more than doctors and lawyers and teachers, that we can be chefs and pastry chefs and entrepreneurs and all these kind of things. And it's not that we haven't traditionally been those things, but you know, when I was thinking about growing up and what I wanted to be, all my friends, we all wanted to be doctors. You know, everybody wants to be a doctor or a lawyer or something, and I wanted to be a translator. I wanted to speak French, and I wanted to do a job with that. And my mother said, no, there's no money in that. And so what she didn't understand, or what her experience was limited in, what it was that I actually had available to me. And that if you're good at whatever you do, you can even make cupcakes and make a living, you know. And I went to school to be a doctor, and it didn't work. It didn't work for me. I couldn't apply it. And so that's why I applaud, you know, physicians and people that can practice at the human body. But I just couldn't apply it, and it didn't work for me.
But, you know, maybe it wasn't your thing.
It wasn't. And the thing about it is I missed out on something I was passionate about, and that was speaking French. And
it's never too late.
Well, you know, but I've lost it because I don't have anybody to speak it with. I mean, I can still muddle my way through it, you know, when I need to. But I didn't know how to necessarily make it work. So what I'm saying is, now the thing that I want to be in my community is just an example of good business. An example of what you can have and what you can create, that you don't have, that you can have a radical idea that you've never seen before, and you can put everything and all your energy into it, and it's gonna make it, because you're obedient to the inside, regardless of if anybody else ever saw it again or saw it before. And that's what I want to be.
Obedient to your DNA, your thumbprint, and making sure that you're self-aware that there are a lot of people that kid themselves that want to be something that they're really not. And as a result, they're not that good at it, but they keep on going after it, knowing full well that maybe, you know, your strengths as a CPA is probably your thing. You know, maybe you're not that great of a tennis player, you know, but keep it as a hobby. With my thing, I knew that getting into the car business was going to be, I thought it was going to be a long-term deal at Mercedes, but it ultimately turned into something, and there was a reason for it, because I have a purpose here on this planet, and I'm quickly finding it out that it's helping and encouraging other people to really find ways to sell themselves. You know, find that value proposition, getting back to what we were originally talking about. And the biggest thing I think you could teach anybody is how to sell. You know, because your mom telling you, well, they don't make that much money, she was selling you on that concept. Okay?
Well, she just didn't know. You know, she didn't even know if they make. And,
how many business people try and go out and teach business, and they've never run a business? Okay,
and so that's why I need this MBA, so I can go and teach.
You've built the business. You could probably teach the professor about stuff.
And the thing about it is, though, the university wants you to have, maybe because they're selling you on why
they're selling you on it. They're absolutely selling you on it. Okay, and it's like the Matrix. If you realize what's happening behind the scenes, somebody is selling you on that notion. All right, hey, you just graduated, you got a bachelor's degree. Well, you know, You could really hit it out of the park if you got a master's degree. Oh, what's that? That's an upsell. Mm-hmm. That's do you want fries with that? It really is. That's an expensive set of fries, but you can come away with, I've got an MBA. Well, do you have any practical business experience? No, but I have an MBA. I knew a person once, she's like, well, I want to start a business. I said, great, when are you going to start? As soon as I get my MBA. And I said, what? Why? Why?
Because you think you need to have
I gotta have this
the business plan and all that kind of stuff.
Do it.
I have seen some of the most successful businesses have started and they do not have a business plan. You know, you have a plan
it's a
in
stick
your mind,
to the basics,
but you don't have it written out as a actual business plan, and you could write that thing. You can write it backwards.
Yeah.
You know,
stick to the basics. Come up with a product or a service. Hang your shingle. Get in front of people. Tell them about what you do and why it's a value to them, and put a price on it and try and close them. Sales process. That's the key.
But are there people out there that will help you create your sales process?
Yeah, Jim McCarthy.
Well, Jim McCarthy, I'm Mignon, Francois. And I'm working on a sales process.
Yeah. You know, but that's the thing you've already developed. You've already had that in your back pocket. You got to promote you. What are you doing to proactively go on the offensive and cold call people? You know, some people at these studios.
That's so scary.
Oh yeah, but you know what? It's not even cold, but figure out a way to warm them up a little bit. Figure out who might know them. That's where LinkedIn comes in.
Yeah.
I need to talk to that guy. Well, who knows that guy who can give me a warm introduction?
Yeah, but all that just sounds.
It does sound scary. It's the the big, ugly, hairy beast of cold calling, but that's how you dominate. That's how you crush it. That's the hustle.
The hustle.
You know, there's a hustle involved, and I'm not exactly the foremost expert on it, but I am certainly aware of it, and I'm getting better at it every single day. Because again, it all comes down to someone's going to sell you as to why they don't need your product, or you're going to sell them as to why they do. I'm Mignon Francois, and I've built a business that dominated for the past 9 years. We have all these accolades. We have all these, think about all the accomplishments, because that's the value you bring to the table. All the professors that you probably, are sitting in a classroom with, how many accolades do they have? How many earned awards based on business and community relations and just winning do they have that you have?
Let me just say something about selfies. I'm not a person that's really like vain. Not that people who take selfies are vain, because I'm loving selfies, so let me make that point. But it took me to be 33 years old to ever see myself as pretty for the first time. And what happened was, I had, before my life, I have a degree in photography, and I used to do weddings and such. And I was taking pictures of my best friend's baby and her. And she was like, you always make everybody feel so beautiful. I want to do that for you. And I'm like, but you don't know how to use the camera. She said, well, I'm going to, fix up your hair, and I'm going to do all this stuff. And then you just put the camera in my hand and then tell me what to do. So we did it. And then I saw the pictures, and I said, that's me. Like, photos do not lie. So when people, look at the pictures and, oh, I don't like it. Well, that's you. So if you don't like it, you got to change some things about you, which put me into this whole weight loss thing. I've lost 25 pounds so far. And I'm trying to figure out what's my goal, because now people want to know what my goal is. I don't know the goal is, but my goal is to continue to eat cupcakes every day while I do it, to let people know it is not me and the cupcakes that are causing all this weight gain in Nashville, because my cupcakes are filled with love, and love conquers all, including calories. And so I'm trying to lose weight while eating cupcakes every day. But so I'm on this whole selfie kick. And the reason is because I want a selfie with my president before he leaves office. And so, again, Kia kind of sparked this desire in me, because she's always taking selfies with people, and they're always notable people. And so one day she posted that she's like sort of trying to get a certain amount of selfies with our new mayor before, throughout her administration. And so I was like, I think I want to do that too. I want to challenge Kia. I want to get more selfies with the mayor than she gets. And then I was like, I don't want just a selfie with the mayor. I want a senator. I want our congressman. I want the president of the United States. So I thought that I should start a campaign called #Swamp Selfie with my president. And so I think I should get a t-shirt made, and that I should start taking selfies with people that are notable. So we'll have to take a selfie before I get out of your car.
Absolutely.
But I've been practicing taking my selfies because when because I was like, I want a selfie with my president. And then I had to put a timeline on that thing because he'll be around forever, right? And he'll always be the president, the former president. But to put a timeline on it makes it something that I have to get done. And so I don't have much time left to do it if I'm going to do it before he leaves office. As I look at him in his presidency, he seems to be the most touchable president. You know what I mean? And that he's willing to be out here, and that it would probably be fun to him even if I actually made it up, there to get that selfie, or run into him somewhere to get that selfie. And I believe that you call things to you. So I said I'm going to start talking about it. So that's going to be my hashtag. You think that'll work?
It's worth a shot. The good thing about social media, like Gary Vee talks about, everyone's got an at-bat these days. Multiple at-bats. That's why I tell people, no matter what it is that you want to do, don't wait until you have it perfect. Just execute on something. Because you're going to get better at it.
So how am I going to get better? Just taking more selfies, or putting myself, in political spaces to get specific kinds, or
figuring out ways to channel into his attention, his line of attention. Figuring out how to, tagging him on Twitter, and as you're doing it, and the more times you tag, find him on Snapchat, send it directly to him. Whether or not he looks at it is another thing. But if all of a sudden you're hammering that every single day, and he's seeing that pop up in his phone, eventually you're probably going to pop out. You're defining what the hashtag is. You get other people to help you out. That's the other thing, is that you have a tremendous piece of equity in the sense that people will help you because of who you are and what you've done. Okay, that's a powerful thing. This is my goal. By the end of his term, I want to meet him and get a selfie with him. How hard can it be?
Yeah, I want that so badly, just because, he is our first black president. That's important. That's valuable to me. And that it truly showed my sons that they could be that.
Invite them for a cupcake.
Yeah.
It can't hurt.
That's a great idea.
Maybe
it'll work because Michelle and her whole thing about eating well. I have sweet potato cupcakes.
Mark my words. In this day, this plan was formulated. President Barack Obama, and I would love to be there if that happens. Will come to the cupcake collection. I'll come to film it. Come to the cupcake collection before the end of his presidency. We're going to say this is a certainty. We're going to put it out there.
Yeah, I love it.
He's going to come to the Cupcake Collection in Germantown, Nashville, and take a selfie with Mignon.
And eat a sweet potato cupcake.
Or two.